Well, he's also got the deadline for Hamas to release all the hostages. That's fast approaching, Army. President Trump said he wants them all released by midday Saturday, or all hell will break loose. What's the latest on that, and are we days away from the ceasefire ending?
Look, time will tell. Israel was pretty confident that the ceasefire was actually going to hold. I'm having my doubts, and so are many Israelis. Yeah, look, I think Hamas has made the decision, and they said, they gave up the hostages quickly, the first tranche of them, because they were relatively healthy looking. The hostages were held in different places, were treated differently. I think this next tranche of hostages, I think one will see that they were tortured and scarred and starved. And I think it's not a good look for Hamas. When you have Jews looking like they're Holocaust survivors. I'm sorry to say that, but that's what we're facing. And Hamas doesn't want to have that blowback. I think it's important to note the difference between the rhetoric of the Trump administration versus what the rhetoric of the Biden administration has been in the past. Trump is telling Israel, you do what you got to do. You have free reign. This is your decision to make. No doubt that if Biden was president, he would force Israel to keep the terms of the ceasefire, even though Hamas has violated it. We know this because he's done it in the past. He cajoled, and he pushed, and he threatened, and he embargoed Israel for defending herself. So I think that Israel finds itself in an enviable position where it can make its own foreign policy decisions and decide how it wants to treat its neighbor in a time of war. I think Israel is benefiting from that for sure.
And we saw the Jordanian king at the White House earlier this week. It's clear that President Trump wants those countries to do more. Jordan, Egypt, Lebanon, perhaps. He wants them to pull their weight and not have the West carrying the weight of this crisis. How do you see that progressing? Do you see those countries taking in Palestinian refugees, resettling them, or are they going to continue to refuse to do that?
No, I don't see them taking them in. Look, I think they know what they got themselves into when they took in Palestinian refugees the first time around. Palestinians are particularly radical. They've radicalized the population of the country that they've entered. They've caused tremendous amount of issues and problems and angst for those countries. So I don't think they're looking to take in more radical Hamas Palestinians into their country. Look, I think Trump has a certain amount of leverage with them, but I think they're going to hold true to that. I think he has more leverage to say to the Arab world, look, you guys have to finance a reconstruction of Gaza. That shouldn't be on the shoulders of the United States and Europe. That really, this is your region, your area. You need to shoulder that load. But I think ultimately, look, I think the Palestinians are going to remember this war, this campaign for generations. I think they hopefully have come to the realization that when you spill Jewish blood, there are real prices and consequences for those actions. And hopefully we'll have a better and more stable Middle East because of it.
I fear that lesson is not going to be learned, but I think the normalisation of relationships in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia and Israel, for example, if that comes in the next few months or even in Trump's second term, that will have an enormous difference because it just shifts the entire understanding of how that region works. For so long, we were told that until the Palestinians have statehood, you can never have relationships normalised in that region. And Trump with the Abraham Accords showed that that was a fallacy. So it's going to be fascinating to observe. Just before you go, I want to ask you about the World Health Organization. Donald Trump's withdrawn from it. Argentina is set to follow. And the WHO chief is now panicking, is pleading with other countries to help get the US to reconsider. How do you see this resolving? Are we going to see the World Health Organization reformed or just more countries leaving?
Yeah, I'm sorry, World Health Organization. Maybe you shouldn't have partnered with China in hiding the coronavirus. Maybe you would have a little more credibility on the world stage, and particularly the United States. Are they going to reform themselves? That's not the DNA of the United Nations and its organizations. Reform is not what they do. Look, Argentina, love it. Milei, my spirit animal, following Trump's lead. I'm all down for it. I hope more countries will follow suit. There has to be a price to pay for these organizations. They can't simply continue doing the same actions that are harming the United States, harming the world, and continue to say, we're going to get more money from you. It doesn't work that way. We have to use the leverage we do. The leverage we have is economic. I'm glad we're doing it. Hopefully, it'll make a change.